friends, welcome back. My name is AJ. I am an ex-bartender turned e-commerce entrepreneur. And today I actually want to share with you my story of being unemployed during the pandemic, starting and now running my very own $500,000 e-commerce business in 2 years' time. It was a long journey and a lot of hard work. There is no get rich quick when it comes to starting a business, but it's been an absolutely amazing journey. And I want to share with you guys sort of the 7 different stages I went through that actually helped me get to the point I am today. And hopefully this can help and inspire you to possibly take your side hustle or make your first step towards chasing your dream or your dream business. So like I said, going from $0 to $500,000 business really happened in stages. And we're gonna call stage number 1 despair. I know this sounds a little depressing, and that's because honestly, it was. I was consumed with get rich quick schemes. And what I found in the end is I was literally just wasting my time, and I was getting an education on what, we'll just write not to do, right? What not to do. And I started to understand pretty quickly, there's just a lot of fluff on the internet. But I was also noticing people having legitimate success with these online businesses. And I started to study a little bit in what they were doing. And finally, I went into the point where it's like, I wanted to hyper focus on a real business model that was gonna make me money over a long period of time. And that's what helped me move into stage number 2. Now this stage I like to call preparation. And the reason why is because there's so many things you have to learn before you launch or make money online. And one of those things that you have to do and you have to learn is how to change your mindset. Now, of course, despair, the last stage I was in, I was getting pretty depressed. I was thinking that this wasn't gonna happen. So part of my preparation was really convincing myself I was gonna see this through all the way to the end. Changing my mindset, not looking for reasons that it won't work, but looking for reasons that I can make it work. And the next part of this was flat out education, right? Learning what business models people were having success on. Learning what type of businesses I can have control over, because I want to control my destiny online. I don't want to just get lucky. And then of course, once I did pick a business model, which I wanted to be e-commerce, I wanted to create my very own business, I started to look into courses and watching a ton of YouTube channels for me to really learn how all this works. So once I felt like I've learned enough, at least some idea of how online business works, that took me into phase number 3, and we're gonna call this get going. Now, the biggest thing here is getting yourself out of analysis paralysis. I'm sure you felt it. I felt it for months. I was overanalyzing everything that I was doing, and I was literally getting nothing done. I was learning no skills. I was not applying anything that I was learning in these YouTube videos or these courses. So in the stage of getting going, we're doing a couple things. Number 1, we're overcoming our fears, okay? I'll be honest, posting on social media is terrifying to me. Making these videos, I still get a little nervous every time I do it. So I had to learn how to overcome a lot of fears. I had to learn how to contact manufacturers. I had to learn how to design my product. These are things that are incredibly out of my comfort zone, but I had to learn how to set that fear aside and move forward so I can at least get closer and closer to the goals that I want to get to. And then I kind of learned if I was going to be able to overcome my fears, if I was going to do all these things that I just felt was uncomfortable, I was going to lean on what I like to call my unfair advantage. And someone who's never ran an online business, I feel like I don't have a lot of advantages, but I do have one particular advantage, and that was bartending. And that's when I came up with the idea of cocktail cards. Now, my mentor at the time recommended that I come out with a product that had something to do with cocktails, that could teach people cocktail recipes or something like that, because I had experience in it. And if I was gonna go all in on something, you might as well go all in with something you know pretty well. And once I made that decision that cocktail cards was gonna be a real product, that took me into stage number 4, and that's the grind stage. This is the bulk majority of the stages that I was in. We're talking 40-hour, 50-hour, 70-hour work weeks. I kid you not. I was so passionate and so ready to get this thing up and rolling that I went into it 100% effort. But there were a few things that I focused on in the grind stage. The main thing I wanted to do was learn high-level skills. We're talking video editing, recording, TikToks, marketing. We're talking how to communicate with manufacturers and designers. And I was doing this day in and day out, building my product, trying to get 1% better every single day. But most importantly, what I was trying to do at this stage was create awareness and excitement around my project. And I was able to do this by building in public. What I mean is every step along the way, I documented it and I shared it on social media. I shared it with an email list, my Facebook group, and I tried to get as many people supporting and many people behind me as possible because I knew I was gonna have to raise money for this business. I had no money to my name. So I really had to create a hype. I had to learn high-level skills. I had to get a little bit better every single day. And I knew if I did all those things for a long period of time, this was around, honestly, this was around 6 to 8 months. I knew that I was either gonna come up with something great or I was gonna come out of the other end of it with some high-level skills that could probably land me a much better job than I would have gotten without doing this. So once I had enough excitement and I was really ready to go, I worked with the designer, I worked with the manufacturer, and we had this concept and this idea ready to go. That moves me into the next stage, and this is where my life changed. So for this launch, I had to go to a crowdfunding website, and I ended up going to Indiegogo. It's much like Kickstarter, very similar website where you can actually pre-sell your product, raise some funds before you go and pay to get your product made. My initial goal was $3,600 to pay for my designer to do all the design work for my product. And then I was just gonna worry about how to pay for the actual product later on. And we were able, through friends, family, email list, social media, we're able to raise $4,600, which not only paid for the design of my product, but it also got me a working sample. But again, I was still also kind of in that grind phase, right? So I was still posting to social media, sharing my story, building in public, letting people know we raised enough money to actually create a legitimate product. And this is where my life changed. I posted on TikTok. I had 100 followers at the time. I posted my entire journey of losing my job, not being able to find work for a year, raising enough money, and working for 6 months to finally come out with this, my finished product. And that TikTok ended up going viral. It got over 600,000 views and brought in $22,000 in pre-sales in the next 24 hours. This was one of the most incredible things that could ever happen because now I had raised enough money to where I can actually pay for a production run. So I talked with the manufacturer. We were able to do a little bit bigger order than I could before, which got our price to a pretty reasonable price. And we went with the production run. So this was absolutely incredible because it raised enough money for me to reach out to a manufacturer to actually do a full production run of my product. And when we finally received it, we literally turned our basement into a sweatshop. I had friends, family, my partner and her mom. We were all downstairs packing orders all day, all night, literally hundreds and hundreds of orders to ship out. And it was a pretty incredible experience. But I continued documenting that journey. I continued sharing my product and my story with people. And I had another TikTok go viral when I finally launched it on Amazon. And this TikTok got over 5.7 million views. That immediately sold out my 200 Amazon units right away, and then I redirected them back to Indiegogo, and we continued to raise over $57,000 in the next 24 hours, and eventually brought my campaign all the way up to $107,000 raised, which completely funded my entire business. I gotta be honest, this is a point where I had a total mind shift on luck. Okay, I always thought luck was completely random, but I have to say, this is one of the luckiest things I could have ever imagined in my entire life. But then I look back to the 8 months, the year, the 2 years that led up to this point, and all the decisions I made and all the hard work I put myself to get there. And I put myself in a position to get lucky. And I am incredibly grateful for everything that happened at this point, but I knew I had to take full advantage. So that moves me on to the very next stage. And this stage we're calling level up. Like I said, I got to take full advantage of this amazing opportunity that happened to me. Viral TikToks, raising money on Indiegogo. Now I have a funding business and a trending business. I got to go on national TV and talk about my story. I went on every single podcast I could to share my story, share my product, and try and ride this wave of success. And a couple things that I did here. One, I fully reinvested all of my I run a business, I don't spell, okay? Now, I would take the funds that I made from my previous sales, I would reinvest them into inventory to make sure I had enough inventory to be fully stocked on Amazon. And I reinvested into a website so I can sell on my website. I reinvested into camera gear, a new computer to put out better content and to make my business more optimized. So this was a really, really awesome stage that allowed my business to level up and continue to get more and more sales. And this resulted in me getting on more and more platforms. Okay, this was really powerful. So kind of the first platforms I was able to move to, obviously my own website, and then I was able to sell on Etsy, which has been a great platform for me and something I didn't expect at all. I started getting people reaching out wanting to carry cocktail cards in their stores. So I went on websites like fair.com, I made wholesale orders available on my website, and today we're in over 70 retail stores. That's absolutely incredible and just like such a cool phase. And at this point I was doing everything I could to reinvest into my business for it to be optimized and to have the most success. So after doing that for about a year, I moved in and leveled up to stage number 7. And this is kind of where I'm at now. And this is what I like to call the flywheel stage. Now, if you haven't read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, I highly recommend you to go check it out. This was an inspirational book, and one of the concepts he talks about the book is called the flywheel. That means if you hyper-focus on making one part of your business really good, it'll actually open up other opportunities and allow you to get really good at additional parts of your business. Now, what I didn't expect is this would also open up more and more opportunities to bring in more revenue into my business. So for instance, we have the cocktail cards, the e-commerce. That started making money, and that fueled the social media. The social media started making AdSense, and that fueled sponsorship deals, and that fueled me getting invited to speaking engagements. And then eventually I also started consulting, where people were literally asking me to coach them and give them advice in their own business and help them launch their products on Amazon or their own website. And I never thought, from being unemployed and having no idea what I'm doing, to now all of a sudden I'm in this position where I can help and empower other people, which is really cool. But the really awesome thing about the flywheel is now I'm in a position where I can step away from the business and it can continue to earn money. I can outsource things that maybe I don't have time for anymore, like hiring a video editor, or instead of filling out all my worksheets, I can hire a virtual assistant, right? Or an employee or a 3PL company that can actually ship out my products for me. So this is a really incredible stage to be at, the flywheel effect, and this is really where I'm at now. Just building more additional revenue streams and trying to put more and more gears together for my business that is really doing well, and I'm very lucky for it to be in the position that it is today. A lot of people ask me, what do I think are the most contributing factors to getting where I am today? And I think it really comes down to 3 things. Number 1 is being consistent in my business. I never really imagined how important this was, but when you're stuck in analysis paralysis, one of the hardest things you have to do is create a habit of showing up every single day for your business. You know, the first time you go to a gym, it's gonna suck. And if you don't show up to the gym the next day, then you didn't really gain anything from it. The only way you get a result by going to the gym is if you actually show up every single day for months and months, and then eventually you're gonna start really reaping the benefits of those habits and all the time that you invested. And business is the same way. Another factor is overcoming uncomfortable challenges. Normally, if something was difficult or I didn't want to do it, I would just give up and walk away. But what this business has taught me is to take these challenges head on, right? Tackle them first, make them the first part of your day. And then it becomes easier and easier to overcome, and it becomes really less uncomfortable. And these are the important moments where you're actually going to build your business. And lastly, it's when I really started to focus on giving value, okay? Putting out content I think a lot of people struggle with wanting to put out content that they want to put out, but when I actually unlocked kind of like, what do you want to watch? What would be helpful for you? And if I can make videos that are more hyper-focused on you versus myself, that's when things really took the shift, the change, the momentum, and it was humbling as well, right? So business has completely changed my mindset. It's humbled me. It's allowed me to really figure out what is important and where to focus my attention. So future goals for this business, hopefully you guys will hold me accountable for this. Number one, I want to move my business into fully a 3PL, which this week we have agreed with a company. So I will be sending my inventory in to a 3PL company, which will store and handle all the logistics of my products being sold on Etsy and my website. Another goal that I have is really freeing up more of my time to create content, to just build the overall marketing of the business. Now I want to dive into paid ads. I've been able to go this whole time without paid ads. It's all been organic marketing on social media. So I have invested into a video editor. I have invested into a 3PL company to completely free up my time to get more amazing content out to people and then focus more on these paid ads to hopefully double my sales this year. And lastly, I just want to share my journey more and help educate and reach more people. So it's actually expanded into this personal YouTube channel, and I want to put out inspiring and helpful and educational video content with all of you. I found that when I'm hanging out with my friends, the things that excite me the most to talk about is this business, the journey, the struggles, the wins. I find it so fascinating and so much fun. So if you guys want to follow along with this journey, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be sharing with you guys like everything I've learned with my e-commerce, some of the different side hustles that I'm working on as well. Now, if you guys want a full breakdown and tutorial on how I was able to launch my Amazon business, I have this video right here that you can check out. I literally break down everything. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.